welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, my name is Anna Biavati-Smith and I'm a highly specialised speech and language therapist. So not only I deal with children's difficulties with language, but I'm specialised on selective mutism. I have had a really busy month for October, which is the awareness month for selective mutism. I have written several blogs that you will find on my website, which I'll put down below, both in the description below and in one of the comments, on Edinburgh Word Steps, speech and language therapy. But today, something that I wanted to chat to you about is about progress. So I'm just back from a very successful evening chatting to teachers about how to support children in school with anxiety and selective mutism. And something that comes up a lot, both with parents and with teachers, is why does progress take so long? But we need to think about, what is progress? What do we consider as progress? Well, first of all, in order to move towards a change, we need to set up a change. And I'd like you to think about a triangle. And I call it the triangle of change. So one side represents the people that the child is with. The other side represents the activity that the child is doing. And the other one represents the environment. So if a child is at school, which is an anxiety-provoking place and environment, with people that he or she doesn't speak to, doing a new activity, all of them would be represented in red. So it's very unlikely that the child will be speaking or making progress in a situation like that. Whereas if you know that the child speaks to a friend or speaks to a member of staff, playing or doing an activity that they really enjoy in a small environment, it's most likely that that child will start making progress. Also, progress has to be a little, tiny little steps. Tiny little steps towards communication. But progress is hindered by expectations. And children with selective mutism, they're almost like the bad wolf that he can sniff the three little pigs. They kind of have the sensation that, we have a lot of expectations. So it's about how can we lower expectations, but also how can we set up a situation that can allow them to make progress. So for example, I often say to teachers to have fun with voicing. So things like, how does an animal laugh? So first thing in the morning, before break, and at the end of the day. So the child is doing something fun, everybody's doing it, and we're getting some voicing. Because remember, for those who don't have a child with selective mutism, but you want to know a little bit more about SM, selective mutism is not a choice. And that's really important. Children don't choose not to speak. They can't speak, which is very, very different. They find it really difficult to speak in an anxiety-provoking situation or environment. So how can we help with progress? The other aspect is do not maintain the mutism. So if you're a parent, if you notice that your child is speaking to you on the way to school, and by the time you get closer to school, your child has stopped speaking, you continue to talk without bombarding him or her with questions, but you carry on. You have a laugh, you distract them, but you carry on, because if you're quiet, then you're maintaining that mutism. If you say, oh, why have you stopped speaking? That puts pressure, although we don't perceive it as that. Or, oh, I know that you can talk. Why have you stopped talking near the school? So you want to create the opportunity to communicate whatever the situation is. So something that happens very, very often is that the child obviously speaks at home, speaks maybe at your mum and dad's house, but then when you go to restaurants or when you go to parties, when you go to different places, your child stops speaking. So what you want to do is you want to help them with progress in communication, and maybe you can bring a game from home. And I do have a video describing a couple of games. They're very successful. So one of them is Scaredy Cat, which is really great fun, and the Orchard toys have an incredible amount of very fun games. Now, I don't get sponsored by them. I just love them. They are simple. They are great for early language, but they're really, really great for any type of learning. That could be literacy, could be numbers. So you can start bringing a toy that your child really enjoy, whether it's the communication, it could be a lotto board, it could be like Hanky Monkey, any type of games outside the situation. So we go back to the triangle. So you're doing an activity that your child loves, so it's a green. He or she's doing it with you, which you are a person that your child speaks to. So they're green, green. The bottom one is the environment, which is anxiety provoking. So that's a red, but you've got the two other sides, which are green. So you're more likely to get some success. But when all the parts of the triangle are all red, it means that is going to be very difficult. So it's almost like if I give you an analogy and I say to you, go and make a meringue pie. So first thing is cooking. You do not like cooking. Cooking is not one of your activity. 2, you're doing it by yourself, or you're doing it maybe with somebody that is really good at cooking, and that's anxiety provoking, because 1, by yourself you find it hard, or 2, when somebody's looking over you, you don't like it. And the third one is the environment. So you're maybe doing it, in the kitchen, you're thinking, oh gosh, that doesn't really work for me. So it's going to be less likely that you're going to choose to make a meringue pie if you feel like that. So in actual fact, you're going to go off to the supermarket and you're going to buy it. When you're considering anything, you've got to think about the triangle, which is something that I often, if not all the time actually, I talk about in my training. So I've got a lot of training coming up in Scotland. I've got 2 in Glasgow, and 1 in November and 1 in January. And I'm planning also to do training in Fife, Aberdeen, Inverness and Perth. And I'm also planning to do 1 in the Borders. So if you have any questions, or you want to know more about the training, or you're even happy to help me to spread the words, please comment below. And I'll be quite happy to chat to you and take things forward. So if you like this type of videos and you would like to have more videos, put your thumbs up or subscribe to my channel, my YouTube channel, but also comment on what you would like to hear. And I'm quite happy to make further specific videos on the topic of your choice. Have a lovely day, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.